Alright YouTube, so The Last Jedi is honestly my least favorite Star Wars movie, but despite that, this vlog will be about The Last Jedi because I thought of a cool movie pitch off a subplot or initial inclusion that didn't make the cut, which was Tom Hardy as a stormtrooper. I admit I did watch Tom Hardy's deleted stormtrooper scene and it was nothing special at all. It was pretty forgettable. I wouldn't have even known if it was him if it wasn't him. But I thought with my creative brain I could sort of follow this idea and sort of make my own movie pitch. But first and foremost, I have to say, this vlog, you read the title, this is where I'm hoping Star Wars goes if The Mandalorian and Grogu is a success, which two fingers crossed it is, because even if it's not, I'm still going to see it, and I'm still hoping at least I enjoy it, even if it's like, not the Star Wars revisal to the big screen that we all are praying for. Speaking of which, here's Grogu and Mando. But, I thought of this idea because I know there's going to be a Star Wars trilogy that's following like a star pilot character played by Ryan Gosling, and I don't think his character is based on the stormtrooper that Tom Hardy was initially going to play because that was such a minor role, but I do think, Tom Hardy is a super cool actor that could fit well in Star Wars, but this isn't necessarily about him, but rather about a sort of idea I have for a stormtrooper movie, which I can't take credit for this. I have heard many people say the idea of like, a boot camp stormtrooper movie, Star Wars, so I'm terrible at speaking sometimes, following Finn's arc, which was kind of wasted potential, but definitely I loved The Force Awakens. I think could have been even better if The Last Jedi was a good movie, or at least a better movie, but the past is the past, as Kylo said, let it die. But this is my drawing of the character who this vlog will be about. So this is Tom Hardy's stormtrooper character. As you can see, he's got the stormtrooper armor, and subtle details I gave were not only the bloody red hand from the battle scene in The Force Awakens with Finn, but also the blue for the light and red-ish, sort of not as red as I wanted it to be, but because of the blood, so I just made this purplish, sort of light and dark, but I guess technically dark in this. And it's got sort of a Darth Maul Kylo Ren fusion lightsaber, and I did give him a cigar because a reference to Wolverine, even though that's a separate universe, but I don't know, I just wanted to make that subtle reference, and got a few scars, so I'm really happy with this drawing too. So I think maybe if the Star Wars sequel trilogy was a little bit darker, that it could have been a little better. Like I've said, I love The Force Awakens, not a fan of The Last Jedi, I have mixed feelings about Rise of Skywalker, but I still respect the movies nonetheless because, they're Star Wars and they're part of the family, in my world at least. But unless you're living under a rock or have never followed any Star Wars fan base, you guys probably know that the Star Wars prequels were a little bit divisive when they first came out, but now everyone, or almost everyone, and most people really like them, so it's definitely like, maybe the sequels could have sort of a similar thing if they sort of follow some untapped potential of the sequel trilogy, which I do think there is plenty of. They don't have to sort of go on a Mandalorian route, but obviously the Mandalorian movie is coming out, so I hope that they do go that route. But another route I think they could go, because there are supposedly a lot of Star Wars movies in plan to come out, like I remember not Ryan Gosling, but Ryan Johnson, who directed The Last Jedi, had a Star Wars trilogy. I don't know if it's coming out or not, but, it was definitely planned for a bit, I remember, when The Last Jedi came out. But something I want to see in this sort of Tom Hardy Stormtrooper movie is sort of follow his character along with Finn, although I really doubt John Boyega would come back to Star Wars because he's expressed a lot of distaste with the franchise, and I can understand because his character was definitely not done the justice or such a cool character as he could have been. But I think maybe if they use similar themes of The Mandalorian with Tom Hardy's Stormtrooper, that this could be sort of a cool series. I don't have any super specific plot ideas that are sort of innovative or, kind of not really innovative or creative, I meant to say. But I do really think that they could make potential with following other characters from the sequel trilogy that didn't quite get as much light as they could have been, such as some of the Maz Kanata Castle and Force Awakens, or maybe the Knights of Ren. I think that was also another planned movie or planned series that maybe, who knows if that's coming out or not, but yeah. So I'll give you guys one last look at this Star Wars character I created. I think Ryan Gosling's character in his Star Wars trilogy might be kind of similar, because I don't know, he and Tom Hardy are sort of similar actors in some ways, at least some roles, I don't know. But I already made a vlog talking about Gosling's Star Wars trilogy, so I'm not going to go too much into that, but I'll conclude this vlog by saying, may the Force be with Mandalorian and Grogu. Please be good. Please help Star Wars get back on its feet on the big screen, because although I do love the animated series that they always release and the live-action series on Disney+, I want to see Star Wars on the big screen again in the cinema, so fingers crossed. Thank you guys for watching. Stay tuned for more soon. I could have talked more about Tom Hardy's Stormtrooper character, but didn't have too much else to say, sadly, so until then, thank you for watching. Stay tuned for more soon. Goodbye.